You're a person who has this story forming in your mind's eye, that marvelous imagination, that wonder hunter, that thunderstorm, that haunted house filled with the fertilizer of childhood, that drive-in showing dirty movies, that therapist couch, that dive bar, that frantic machine, that solitary confinement, that butcher cleaving your memories to meat, that manic depressive, that flat saxophone, that anxious child, that father's gnarled love, that mother's cusses and knuckles hustling around your skull, punishing, still punishing. And why can't we ever shush the roars from our... Wait, what were we talking about? Right, the day that I killed Got Jokes. Someone did die this day, but unfortunately, it wasn't him. If that sounds mean, it's only because you have not met Got Jokes yet. Look, it was supposed to be the night of their big break, the best night of their lives. I know that because he said so. I was the guy you talked to when things went sideways. Maybe it was the no more drunken madness tattoo on my neck, or it was the look in my blue eye versus the fake one. Lost its predecessor when a blade lanced through it like it was an olive on a cocktail stick. And now I wore a Scrubs blue replacement that always seemed surprised. I played guitar in a crappy band called Slummy. We had no future, but I wish you could have seen how happy it made us to pollute the world with our broken songs. Got Jokes played in a great band next door. He was the guitarist. Trick Wilma sang and played bass in All the Fuss. She wrote true and angry songs. She was the real deal. They were a couple, and when Got Jokes put his guitar parts to her music, it suddenly sounded like Green Day had their period. So basically, Green Day. I lived in West Oakland since it was really West Oakland. Smash and grabs were cross streets. The whole neighborhood got pistol whipped, spitting teeth. It was so deranged that people even took runs at me. I did righteous violence, berserker beating, but my hands got carried away one night. There should have been voices in my head telling me to stop. Maybe there were. Maybe I just couldn't hear them drowning in the liquor gurgling in my brain. And if I couldn't hear them, I certainly couldn't hear his skull fracture on that fender. I did 18 months in county, 8 years at Quint, and got my fake eye in there. My good luck charm, really. My life had gotten better since popping in that always surprised fake. Those Quentin cages? No. I wanted more sky, wanted to breathe the air after a spring rain, wanted to bungee, to surf, to lie in the sun so long my skin pulsed. Wanted to drink a glass of 2 sour lemonade, eat a churro as long as an elephant's trunk. I wanted to lick pussy for an hour straight, steal a motorcycle and ride to Stinson Beach at 80. I returned from lockup clean. After a year in a halfway house, I made it back to West Oakland and it had a Whole Foods. Inside, I ate a Pop-Tart and changed the strings on my telly when Got Jokes started pounding on the practice room's door. It was good timing, really. I just pasted my mohawk into Liberty Spikes. What do you want? I yelled on my way to the door, not yet knowing it was him. Once I saw him, I broke the Pop-Tart in half and handed him his 50. I liked Got Jokes back then. The gear's all gone, he shouted at me. He was the handsome one in their band, and I resented him for it. My false blue eye scared most women the same way it scared most men. Slow down, I said. Who took their gear where? Jesse stole it, he said. That was their junkie manager, and this was how every story about every junkie manager ever stole from punk rockers ended. The musicians, empty-handed, the manager, comatose and pleased. What are you going to do? I said. How should I know, man? He said. That's like why I'm here. I'm asking you. You got to fucking help me. They even stole the power strips. He thoughtlessly nibbled, then put most of the Pop-Tart in his pockets. It bothered me how quickly he talked again. Why wouldn't he want to savor the poetry that breakfast dessert. But Got Jokes went right on. I don't know how to find anybody. Do you? Do you know? Can you help me? Well, that depends, I said. On what? He asked. Can you say thanks for the fucking Pop-Tart? I asked. Look, it wasn't like you needed to call in the bloodhounds to find a junkie. There were only three options. He was on the run with the gear, or he was trying to hawk it all on the quick, or he had the sale set up ahead of time and was already holed up in a motel shooting drugs. The cops wouldn't care about the jawbreaker gig, wouldn't care that to us punks, playing that kind of show was making it. We weren't greedy. All we wanted was a room of sweaty pals crashing into one another, having the time of their lives. All we wanted was one kid to come up after and say, "You rock." A dime bag of ramen and a 40 oldie, and we were good. That was all the success we were ever going to know, except for Green Day. And fuck them. 10 minutes later, we pulled up to Jesse's apartment building. The entire block was made up of 1970s apartment buildings, stucco palaces. Have you ever broken into a house before? I asked him. My one eye glared. We can't commit a crime, man, said Got Jokes. We're like trying to solve one and stuff. I'll do it, I said. I'll be right back. Jesse's unit was on the second floor. I stomped up the stairs toward his place, ready for thunder to kick in the door, but it was open. I could hear somebody singing the blues over an acoustic guitar. No other instruments, just a man spilling his charred guts. I stayed at the door for a few seconds, listening. It was an old Robert Johnson song, "When You Got a Good Friend." And so I went inside. And I heard water splashing from the bathroom. I walked slowly toward it, and the Vikings who lived in my bloodstream got ready for the battlefield. The door was closed. There were stickers all over its outside, the same circular sticker, at least 20 of them. Warning, this product might contain tree nuts. A leg raised, a motivated boot, a smile on my face, the whole door flying from its perch, landing on the floor. Jesse was taking a bath. He wasn't alone lying in the tub. There were 5 or 6 pancakes with him. They were floating on top of the water like lily pads. There were no bubbles. He lay there naked, so emaciated that all his tattoos looked like they'd been done right on his bones. He had a black and white Superman S running across his whole chest, which seemed the equivalent of nicknaming a tall guy Tiny. Where's their gear? I said. Ready for his excuse, we could rationalize anything. File facts down to what we needed them to be, like making shivs in prison. He smiled, picked up one of the lily pads. This is my last supper, he said to me. Yeah, well, I'm pagan, I said, and it's barely noon. I adore pancakes, he said. They seem supportive. Would you like one? I'm a Pop-Tart man myself, I said. He let the lily cake plop back in the bathwater. I just can't bring myself to eat these friendly flapjacks. They're gear, I said. Now. He held up a razor blade that had been on the tub's edge and said to me, I asked this razor a minute ago if there was a reason to reconsider. Then you walked in. Are you here to save me? He stuck his arm out of the tub, dripping water on the linoleum and the unhinged door. He turned his palm toward the ceiling, traced a vein with the blade. I've always wanted to see where we go, he said. I didn't take their gear. I only unlocked the door for them. Them, I said. It wasn't enough to cover my debt, he said. They're going to kill me tomorrow, so I'm going to kill me. You needed to be in this bathroom to understand how broken he was. I'd been that broken. I'd been him. Drugs squeezed the human out of you, leaving only a suicidal amoeba. The raging Vikings quieted in me, and this moment was no longer about the band's gear. This moment was about empathy. The world hated junkies, wishing us to the great garbage dump in the sky. Maybe that was where he was going to end up anyway, but that didn't mean he couldn't glimpse a speck of kindness right now. I plucked my fake eye from the socket and I held it out to him. This is a pill, I said. It made my life better. It can help you too. Eat it, and I swear it will end all of the aches in your heart. Jesse looked at the eye like it was poison, and maybe it was. I had no idea what it would feel like to try to pass a fake eye. Those, however, were issues for later. This was about now, helping him mute the voice from the razor blade that wanted him dead. It will help me? He asked. Yeah, man, you'll be like me, free. Jesse opened his mouth, shut his eyes, waiting for me to give him filthy communion. I held my fake surprised eye up near my face one last time. I stared at myself. Sometimes you need to lose half your sight to see twice as much. And so I thanked that eye for the fortunes it brought. I did not mean money. I'd never be rich, but it made my life better by showing me every day that there wasn't a single thing that couldn't be bent back into some semblance of shape, even people. I plopped it on his tongue and used a handful of pancake crumbs and bash water to wash me down. Jesse kept his eyes closed, but now he was smiling. I waited a beat before I told him I wanted to take him somewhere. I can't walk, said Jesse. I've been boneless all morning. I picked him out of the tub, slid a ratty towel around his waist, ready to carry him to the car. I need to show you something, I said. You're a person and I'm a person and she is and he is and everyone's a person, and I finally remember what we were meant to be talking about this whole time. Joy. Because we were alive and we could be whoever we wanted. I just survived a near-death experience. It just wasn't mine. I took us to where we needed to go. We idled in the parking lot, looking at the big building. I got out of the car and helped Jesse cinch the towel again. Are you still feeling boneless? I asked him. He nodded. I did the thing that he needed most. I picked him up. I carried Jesse toward the big building. Where are we going? He asked. We're going inside, I said. And I carried him all the way into West Oakland's Whole Foods, into those bright lights, into a room that smelled of cedar. Carting Jesse and his towel into this Valhalla was the happiest I'd been in a long time. I like it in here, I said to Jesse, holding him steady, holding him high. What do you think? And just because the gods dug screwing with us, it finally registered for me who was singing over the store's speakers. Fucking Green Day. Thank you very much.